Climate change is perhaps the most pressing environmental issue in the world today. The effects of climate change have already been seen in the Baltic Sea region and all around the world. Many regions have made cutting greenhouse gas emissions their main environmental priority.
Climate change will affect all of us, and it will affect the environment in many ways, and we need, of course, to understand what impacts will climate change have upon us.
But regardless of how well the world manages to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, some climate change is inevitable. Therefore, it is important for us to also study and analyze imminent consequences of climate change in the Baltic Sea region.
We need to understand the natural processes that will change due to climate change. So having a strategy is of course also necessary to see how should we adapt to these future changes that will most likely be upon us.
In general, it is likely that we will experience more extreme weather. According to the International Panel on Climate, a total increase in the average temperature of 3 to 4 degrees is expected by the end of the century. This will likely lead to increased rainfall, more pollution from river runoff to the Baltic Sea, and a 30 to 40% increased chance of flooding, placing an enormous burden on our existing infrastructure. Sweden's Meteorological and Hydrological Institute is working on much more than just forecasting the weather. They are also deeply involved in trying to understand future climate change scenarios. One of the tools SMHI is using to help bring about climate change awareness is the Geodome, a fully inflatable portable movie theater with real-time data visualization to help illustrate possible climate change scenarios, which will help to inform both policymakers and the general public about how to create plausible future adaptation strategies.
The Geodome is a good way to transfer knowledge, not only to decision makers and so on, but also we want to try it with the general public, with the school kids, with all kinds of stakeholders in any situation, really.
In response to climate change, we need to both adapt to expected changes and continue working on the reduction of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere.
We should also think about the land use, because lots of agriculture, forestry and so on, they actually emit CO2 to the atmosphere.
Mikael Jansson is a forest farmer, 4th generation no less. But he's not just an ordinary forest farmer, he's a farmer with a philosophy.
Att prova och tänka långsiktigt, det är liksom prio nummer 1. För att jag menar, det är ju 120-130 års omloppstid, så det ska man ju inte titta på en kvartalsrapport eller. Göra energiskog av, alltså göra flis och sånt där, elda upp, det är ju en rätt bra idé, för det är mycket energi. Jag menar, förut till exempel, då sprutade de bort varenda björk, då flög man ju och sprutade bort allting. Och nu kan man ju få växa upp och så tar man och gör flis av istället.
Mikael uses this fleece as a form of biomass which he uses to heat his home as well as his neighbors. Then, he delivers the tree tops and branches from his harvest, which are of no use to the conventional paper and lumber industry, to his local district heating plant in Jämtland, where they manage to produce not only heat but also electricity for nearly 40,000 residents in the town of Östersund. The researchers obviously think that bioenergy production is a great way to supplement our energy needs.
Anyone who thinks in his way of managing his forest and have a philosophy like him is of course a good example.
Man ska göra som indianerna. Ja. Tänka 7 generationer framåt och 7 bakåt. Då kanske man hamnar ungefär rätt.
Most people, they are aware, but they don't think they can do anything themselves. But there's also a lot of people that think they can and working on it. And I mean, we will be successful. We have to. I mean, we have no choice, really.